Hi, hello everyone. So, we are live. So, I'm just gonna show you pretty much my routine as I level design, and hopefully it'll entertain you. Hopefully it'll show you that my job can be a lot more boring than you'd think. Hi chat. All right, so if you have any questions, if you want to know anything about my job, what I do, and really anything that you want to ask, I can't promise I can answer, but I will try to answer. Yeah, and that's it. I'm going to show you a little bit of what I do. For example, today I've been working on caves for a little bit. And they've been, well, it's kind of a new thing where we have, hold on, gonna up the mic a little bit. Let's see, here it's two. How about this? Is this better? Oh yeah, this is Unreal Engine. From where I'm from the Netherlands. That's where I studied as well, and I moved here for Coffee Stain, for this job specifically. Underwater gameplay, as of now, that is not really a thing. But who knows, maybe in the future? All right. What's the glowing ball? Well, you'll have to play the game to find that one out. All right, so I've been working on decorating caves, specifically where I put stuff like stalagmites, stalactites, some lights, things like roots coming from the roof, stuff like that. Like I had just done in this cave. This is a cave that I have just finished, at least for now. So I'll be moving on to another one. Can I swim? Well, that depends. Me personally or in the game, because it might be a different question. How many Dutch people? We have 3, and we'll get another one soon. Yes, we have caves. And this, I'm going to show you a little sneak peek if we go up, is in an area called Rocky Desert. You can see a little bit more of the game, and I'm just gonna teleport us over to a cave that needs decorating. This one, empty completely, so let's make it pretty. All right, so I have a bunch of foliage types that we call them here on my left, and these are essentially things that I can use to decorate the level with. So for example, I'm currently using a lot of this row, which has cave assets in it. So for example, there were mushrooms that I had used before, but I'm going to start with some stalactites and paint those on the ceiling. Different biomes contain different resources. Not really. Foliage is a thing, but different biomes don't necessarily have different resources, but there might be biomes that work better for certain resources, so you might find some assets that relate to that around there. And yes, there are definitely Easter eggs in the game, of course. We love putting those in, and I won't tell you about them because that's kind of defeats the purpose. Will you be able to use the map editor? No, this is in engine. So an engine is not something that you can use as you play. But maybe in the future that will be a thing, depending also how much we want to go with mods and stuff. What do we make the foliage and the models in program-wise? not entirely sure. I think we use Maya for one of our tools, and we probably use, what was it called? There was a program that could create trees of some kind that was specifically very good at organic shapes. If you're in the alpha right now, the caves are kind of broken. We fixed them though. That's a big thing that we're doing. So if you get stuck in them now, hopefully in the future you won't get stuck in them again. Speed tree, yes, that's it. Speed tree. ZBrush could be, I think, maybe. I would have to ask the artists. Yeah. Yes, don't try not to anger Simon too much, you know. He might sneak up on me and scare the crap out of me, or I don't know, steal my key. That'd be a bad thing. Ooh, Substance Painter is a thing as well. Yeah, and ZBrush confirmed. Just got a message. Oh, that static white doesn't fit nicely. So yeah, we use Substance Painter. Damn it. All right, let's try to scale you down. Are caves a hazard, or will they just be there to explore? That depends on the cave, but they are definitely an exploration thing, and there will probably be nice goodies in there to be found. There we go. What engine? This is Unreal Engine. Let's see. Let's start with the stalagmites instead. There we go. And start painting. I know the point of going into caves besides exploration, well, you can find stuff like these little guys. Nice little goodies that will help you in some shape or form, whether that be factory related or exploration related. Otherwise, it's also, you could sometimes find resources. You can find, oh, that's very big. Let's tone that down. And just nice little areas. Sometimes we just make caves for the sake of having a pretty little corner of the world to see and enjoy. Let's see the scale. No, that's the wrong one. That one. Scale 10. Let's tone it down to 6. Maybe 5. This is a very low ceiling. The specs of the PC I'm working on, honestly, I don't know, but it's a pretty good one. Who creates the decorations and assets? Well, that would be our lovely art team. They are the wizards that make all of the things that I use to put inside the level. So I cannot take credit for any of the actual meshes that you see on the screen. But I can take credit of like where they're placed, mostly. Let's see. How many people are we in the studio? We're getting some new people in soon. I think we'll be around 30. Just today we've been redecorating and essentially a new seating plan was made, and we got a bunch of new desks, and we've been moving things around a lot today, including me. I'm in a new spot now, so it's cozy. Let's see if we can fit some in this narrow passageway. I'll make them a little smaller again. It doesn't really work nicely. Hold on. Are these stalactites scientifically accurately placed? I guess I can go into a little bit of like how we decide where to put things and how the world looks. A lot of it is actually research into geology, and a lot of times I actually consulted Google Maps or something like that to sort of see, okay, how does the world work pattern-wise? Because it's all about patterns in nature. Yeah, usually you would have stalagmites hanging directly over stalagmites and stuff, because stalagmites essentially help create stalactites help create stalagmites. It's always confusing which one's up and which one's down. Yeah, but yeah, I used Google Earth just to sort of see what nature is up to, honestly. And there was a study that was done here as well for how erosion works, for example, how water erodes rock and earth and such, and how rivers are created and lakes and anything, and how all these things are connected. And so there is thought that goes behind this creation, but at some point we also take some creative freedom where we take what is pretty over what makes sense, because, well, we want this game to be pretty. Yeah, exactly. Stalactites hanging down. I see you, Jonas. I see you. I have that. I have that trick as well. But if you want the safer work version, it's the stalactites as in top. If that helps anyone. There you go. Yep, Tim got it too. Alright, let's see. Do we have any foliage above this? No. But this is where faking comes in. Let's add some roots hanging from the ceiling. Let's see. The most ridiculous thing I could show you. I have a little thing that I could show you. Let's see where it is again. It's over there. Somewhere in this mist. There's a little thing that I think some people could appreciate. Let's go back to our cave. We're not using the same assets as Arc as far as I know. But there also, we have some temporary assets that we use until our team can make essentially the asset that we need. Let's see, let's go and turn off the lighting so I can see a little better. No, no, please don't reward Simon for scaring me. That's not a good thing. Let's see, is this one part of it? Yeah, okay. I think I can scale that one up a little bit. Yeah, I shouldn't have asked that. Okay. What is my job in the franchise? Well, as the title hopefully says, level designer, but I also work on writing the story. And recently I've been doing some lighting, which ties pretty tightly into level design, so that is most of what I do. A pipe big enough to drive a car in. Would you call that pipe maybe a cave? Tunnel? Something like that? Because we have those. Can you build in caves? Well, you could try. It's a cramped space, but, you know, I won't stop you. Could be pretty cool. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it's not a desert. You're under a waterfall. It's fine if there's roots growing here. Don't come up with logic. Jeez. Does the cave have anything to do with story? Well, No story spoilers here. Okay, let's add some color. This mushroom and was it this one? This one. What does Simon do? Well, he mostly delays things. Unless you want a serious answer, but do you want a serious answer? Do you really want the magic to be gone? Do I have rules to follow while decorating? It's mostly stuff that's in our head. We follow some rules, as I said before, where we try to be somewhat logical with how we place things. Let's actually make the spawning of this one less. Let's make that 10. I have more smaller ones. And there's more art-based rule sets where, for example, things look best in clusters. Evenly spaced out looks too perfect, too painted, essentially too deliberate. Where if we paint things in clusters and if they are a little chaotic, that's the best. Tends to look better, for example. That's more of just a generic art rule and level design rule, I suppose. Rules definitely, for example, we don't want to block the player too much. Like if I would, you know, put some annoying rocks here, the player wouldn't have a nice walkway to get into the cave. So we have to be careful with how we place things and that the player doesn't get stuck. From the perspective of the player, it's about yay big. So it's very deceptive, actually. It's a big problem when level designing, especially when you're doing the big strokes, because you sort of need to put out player, like the player model, just to have a sense of scale, because everything looks a lot smaller than it actually is. Can you travel to other planets? Nope. We are currently just on this planet. Let's see. Doesn't want to paint because of the angle. Oh, we need to give it a cold distance because otherwise it will just stay on the screen forever. We don't want that. Like that. 5,000 because it's smaller. Well, that gigantic rock is pretty gigantic, but you can pass by it, so it doesn't actually block the player's path. Sure, I can pop down a player model. Hold on. Let's see. Let's give a static mesh. That is not what I want. Let's see. Character. What is it called? Well, it's not a story spoiler to say that there's not going to be another planet. It's just giving you a sense of the scale of the game. Char player, got you. And it's probably a blueprint, not a static mesh. There we go. Okay, so that's how big the player actually is. So that you can see that things look a lot smaller than they actually are. And there you can sort of see like a small camera perspective from what the player can see from that point. I do not know how big the world is in football fields, but it's about 30 by 30 kilometers. So it's pretty big. All right, I'll delete that. Yeah. You could totally build a factory in here. Yeah, it was just a small one, but you could totally try. I welcome those who can figure that out, because it's going to be a challenge. But do it, absolutely, and send us screenshots. We'd love to see the stuff that you do. People have already made amazing stuff in the alpha. It's amazing. Is the world a single landscape or separate ones? I'm not sure what you mean. If you mean if there will be stuff like loading screens between areas, no, there won't be. It's all like fluid, open world. And it's just one big map. The level designs me. Well, that's That's an interesting thought. Let's see. Maybe I should scale those down a little bit. They're probably like twice as big as the player. What logic do we use to split up assets in sublevels? That's a good question. We have a rule of where we use about 15. Oh, sorry, retracting a previous statement. The 30 by 30 kilometers, that's that's a leftover of when we first announced the game, and a lot of people actually thought it was that big. Must have sneaked into my brain there. It's 30 kilometers squared. Yeah, here we go. So like about 5.5 by 5.5. As for the asset limits rule set, it's about 15 assets per biome or area. So there's about 15 assets that we can use for caves, and there's about 15 assets, for example, that we use for deserts, and there's about 15 assets we use for forest, and we mix and match those where we have sub areas within like a bigger biome. Come on, why aren't you painting? Let's increase the paint amount a little bit. Now that one's in the rock, let's not be in the rock. Oh, it's just because of I see. It's a collision gone wrong. No worries, I'll find it. Let's see. Cave-dwelling creatures. Only one way to find out if those exist or not. But there's definitely stuff roaming around the planet that isn't all too friendly towards you, and stuff that might be very friendly towards you. As for the question of why we chose to use manual building of the levels instead of procedural generation, I'm not entirely sure because I wasn't there for that decision process, but I think the idea was that procedural generation at the time seemed to be a lot more effort for the work that we're putting into. Maybe retroactively we can say that it could have been better, but honestly, we're managing pretty fine. I'm not the only level designer. We have Gustavs as well, who was here long before I was here. I came in to help out, and we've been going for about 2 years now. So far we've been managing pretty well. And we have two others specifically. One of the other designers that helps place out things like the resources and the creatures and all the fun stuff you can do, and like jump puzzles and all the other stuff that we can't be bothered with because we're trying to make things pretty. I don't really work on gameplay blueprints. No, I mostly do visual work and writing work. How do you decide who fills caves with stuff? Well, it's mostly we just see who's available and who can work in what area of the map at any point, because we work with tiles. So we have, for example, here a bunch of tiles, and each tile will have to be essentially, only one person can possess the tile at any one point, so we have to really coordinate who works where at any point. So right now I have the tiles for the rocky desert, which says that if there is anything to do in that area, I will be the one to do it. And we can switch around tiles when we need to, and give them to other people when something else needs to be built. It's a lot of tiles. I haven't counted them, but you're welcome to screen cap and try for me. But yeah, I think each tile, I'm not sure exactly what the size of each tile is in meters, but you're smart people, you probably know. Graphical modding, like different texture packs, maybe. I don't know. We're really just focused on release and trying to figure out, you know, how to make this game, like the foundation, make it work and you know, make it fun as it is, and then we'll think about making extras and making it bigger and all those kind of things. Why not make a maze out of the caves? Who says some caves aren't mazes? Yeah. Could you show the whole world, please? If I load the whole world, we'll be sitting here for like half an hour. Please no. Let's see, let's switch over to some stalagmites in this area. I think these are the smaller ones. Yes, they are. I'll use those. Do I have orange plants to put in the cave? That is an oddly specific question. I mean, we have orange plants, but whether they go in caves, well, they can be bigger. Are graphics rendered in tiles? Yes, that's exactly why we have this tile system. So not all the tiles are loaded at any point in playing the game, so it's easier on people's systems. Let's see, let's make this. Oh, minimum 2, maximum 2. Maybe I can tone it down. And make this one. It's pretty small in itself, so let's make that 10 again. I'll just fix up the stalactites in this cave, and then we'll move on to another area, and you'll be able to see a bit more of the map again. There we go. It's a little too much, maybe. Can I put something in this cave to make it easy to identify? Well, try to find it from this screenshot, make it a treasure hunt? I don't know. This is where it is. Also, those beautiful waterfalls that haven't been fixed yet. Ignore, please. Oh dear. Let's see, okay. Yeah, I'll be a little patient, and I'll be showing the tile in a second. Just getting through a little bit. Why are they all so big? Okay. Let's go extreme. It's actually kind of annoying to paint on the ceiling because of how the camera works, and my brain doesn't always catch up with the perspective. There. Will water affect items on the belt? It would be cool if they got like a shine or like a new texture. Maybe, maybe. I don't think it's in right now, but maybe. Let's paint a little bit more stalagmites. Bear with me, and then we'll see some outside. Can I paint on there? There we go. Not in. Oh, that works actually. If I reverse the camera to make it look like I'm working on the floor, I will be incredibly disoriented when I go outside of the cave. Probably. I think the stream will be about an hour, depending on how... when I run out of things to say, I guess. Things to show. But probably until about like 5 p.m. our time, so another half an hour or so. Okay, let's see how this looks with lit. It's a little dark, so let's add... it's not too dark, but when the night falls... Let's see. It gets pretty dark, so let's add some lights. Point light. Am I in the right tile? Hold on, I will have to check. I can check by clicking this. I'm X1, Y3, so let's see. That's not the one I have selected, so I have to click there. So I have it selected, and everything I place into it will be in that tile and will be loaded with that tile. Foliage automatically does this because it's painted on the tile itself, so that's very handy. Let's see, details. The attenuation can go a little wider, and if we make it darker, let's make it a little bluish to make them a bit more cave-like, I suppose, and then make it a bit more intense. Let's see. Just some ambient lighting so that you're able to sort of see where you're at, but there's also flashlights, so hopefully it won't be too bad. And I'll just make this one nicely highlighted. Let's see, copy this one over to here. And now the cave has a little bit of ambient lighting, so you can actually sort of see what you're doing. It's a fairly rough concept. We'll be probably doing another pass when we, let me just save everything. We'll do another pass when we have all the assets exactly as we want them, and a better idea of exactly what we want to do with caves, because caves are a fairly recent development. Art-wise, because they've been in the game for a while, but we haven't really had a good asset set for them. So this is all actually fairly new for me. I've only really started doing this today. Let's see. All right, let's get a little glimpse of the outside when there's night as well. Is there lava? If you dig deep enough, I guess. I don't think there will be lava. But yeah, this is an idea of what the world looks like. We've done a lot of work on the perimeter, so like the skybox, the clouds, the lighting, the mountains in the distance, so that's all been fairly new. This area in particular, Rocky Desert, if you watch the previous dev stream, deserts are kind of my thing, so I've worked a lot on this area. And also the other desert, which probably won't be shown today, but is in the game. So yeah, let's see where the next cave is. And let's put it back to midday. There we go, light. Let's see. Let's find a cave. Let's see, we've done this now. This is a cave with a weird thingy, or this one might be interesting. It's a bigger one and it's fairly open and deserty, or I think that was a pretty interesting one. No. That one is in a tile that I can't get to yet. Here we go. So this is sort of like a transition cave, like underneath the level. And we all have internal names for all the areas, but just so that we know what we're talking about, we're like, I'm working on the Dune Desert, or I'm working on the Rocky Desert, or working on Maze Canyons, or working on the Southern Forest or the Northern Forest, so we can actually know where people are talking. How many suns and moons, planets does this planet have? Bunch. Let's see. Let's start again with, let's see if everything's selected. Deselect you. Actually, it's good maybe to start with the stalagmites, because they will block the path if I'm not careful. So. Those names are mostly for internal purposes, the names of the levels and such. So I can't say they will be in the story, but they might be. I honestly don't think we'll use them. It's more for internal communication. I think we're going to give you the freedom to name things as you like. So no, not so too big. Let's make it this. Do I work with any astronomers or anything? Nope. Well, we have some really smart people in the office that help me with some sciencey stuff mostly. I do research. I try to make things believable, both story-wise and levels-wise. But like for the story, I am researching things like space and science and like alien planets and things like how would this system work logically with multiple planets and such. And also just, you know, because there are the things you build need an explanation maybe sometimes, or there's some lore behind it, and I would be also the one to write and research that. And there are some things that don't exist in real life, so that always turns interesting. Let's see. Will the machinery still work if I'm not loading that specific tile? Yes, your factory will always stay active no matter where you are on the map, unless of course you run out of fuel. But that's a problem to deal with more with management and how you set up your factory yourself. But of course we give you a warning when that happens. I mean, yes, some things don't exist yet in real life, but who knows what the future brings. It could be that, I don't know, some inventor somewhere is inspired by our game and I don't make something stupid, because why not? How does the map end? Currently it's mostly just the endless void or sea. We're doing a lot of perimeter work right now to make the ending of the map look nice and feel nice and not just like invisible walls, because if there's anything that most people hate, it's invisible walls, and trust me, that is a shared hatred. So my work schedule is kind of like it's just a 9-to-5 job, or kind of more of an 8-to-5 job, where we have a break at around 12 to 1, about an hour. We usually go out for lunch with people from the office, or people bring their own lunch. And sometimes we play games, sometimes together, sometimes not during lunch break. And it's just, yeah, like the kind of work I do really depends on the day, really, and the planning, because sometimes I work more on the level, and sometimes I work more on the writing, depending on what we need for the next build, or what stage we're at with certain features. So writing is very difficult if features aren't complete, because then essentially that turns a lot of writing obsolete. So some things just have to wait, and then I do other stuff in the meantime. Oh, thanks. Sleeper's Delight. Also the guy whose music you're hearing currently. Good stuff. What is my most favorite game? Oh no, that is a terrible question to ask someone. Why do you do this? I'm a fan mostly of RPGs. I play a lot of Dungeons & Dragons with groups here, but I'm a firm BioWare games lover. I love the Assassin's Creed series. Most anything that has roleplay elements in it, or exploration. I'm a fan of exploration. Well, look at my job. It's pretty perfect. Let's see other stuff. I play most kind of games. I'm a fan of story for obvious reasons. I play Overwatch, for example. Or like more narrative-driven games like Life is Strange or the Telltale games. But I also play stuff like Borderlands and Doom and silly shooters. I'm probably gonna play Anthem. I played the demo, I think that was 2 weeks back. And the gameplay is actually really cool. I'm just a little worried about the hub stuff, but I think if we give them time, it'll be pretty cool. But I mean, honestly, the gameplay and the navigation of the area is just flying around in a suit, and it's really cool, really cool. Did I make the walls of the cave you're placing stuff on now? Yes and no. Some caves are made by me, some caves are made by Mark, some caves are made by Gustav's. Oh, the line in the ground. That's because of the cave spline. It's essentially the line that it follows. It's just a mesh, but if I can show you, for example. This essentially determines how the mesh flows, and the numbers indicate which spline point we're at. So this is the first spline point, or like, there's also a 0, that's the mouth of the cave, and then there's the spline point 1. And that way we can make more of these kind of almost tunnel-like caves instead of having to mess around with a lot of separate meshes. So this is a lot more optimized and a lot easier to work with as well. Yeah. All right, I think, have I missed some spots? Probably. I get a little distracted sometimes. I can just paint some stalactites there. How's the rocket going to look inside and outside? Which rocket? I'm not sure what you're talking about. What did I do to get into Coffee Stain? Well, I was studying game design in the Netherlands for a while, and in my last year we did internships. So at first I interned at Ubisoft in Montpellier. And then Natalie, a really good friend of mine who I met in college, was interning here, and she was talking about how cool it was, and how the people were awesome, and that the work was cool. And I figured out that I wasn't really too much for AAA development, and I was looking for a different kind of workplace, essentially. So I was like, okay. And Natalie told me that they were looking for another designer, so I applied for an internship here. And I got in. And that's pretty much how it all started. So I owe my spot here to Natalie, most likely, because honestly, Coffee Stain wasn't really on my radar before. I'd played Goat Simulator, and I sort of vaguely knew about them, but I didn't really, I don't know, pay attention, I guess. But my eyes were opened. Let's see. It sort of looks like a AAA game. It's a very ambitious project, I have to say. Like, this is the biggest game that Coffee Stain Studios has made yet. It's pretty insane. There's some here, and I think we're pretty much good on stalactites. Don't want to overdo it either. All right. Requirements so far, Windows, yes. Windows is a requirement. We're probably gonna have different kinds of stuff. Like, the platform we're currently using is Windows just because it's the easiest for us to do at the moment, because we're not done yet. We're still in development. But that list will grow, I'm very certain. Say something in French for the French community. Oh no, don't put this on me, Evil Guard. Don't do this to me. Okay. Bonjour tout le monde. Je suis Anna. Et merci pour tout. Et je parle un peu français, mais c'est difficile parce que c'était 2 années, 3 années. Voilà. There you go. That's the extent of it. You're welcome, Evil. Yeah, baguette, croissant, etc. Oh no, oh no, don't ban me. Don't ban me. I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. I'll speak English. No, say something in German. No. Would you believe me if I say I speak French better than German just because I've spoken French more, even though I'm Dutch? Don't make me do this. Don't make me. All right, let's see. Can we make? Oh, that's not good. That's stalactites sticking out the other side. Bite. Oh, I think. What is the biggest difference between working at an indie studio versus a major one? The biggest thing for me was versatility. I really like doing different kinds of jobs. Like, for example, the fact that I do both lighting and writing and level design, and sometimes even a little VFX, but that's really on the side. At a AAA studio, you don't really, you specialize much more. You go deeper into one skill, and that is kind of the thing you do. At an indie studio, you get a much more chance to just do all kinds of things, and I just like too many things to really want to specialize into one single thing. All right, let's save again. So that, for me, is really the biggest plus of working at an indie studio. I also just like the fact that we're a smaller team, and that means you know people better, and I know that there's just a more of a closer connection between people, which is really, really nice. Like, the people here are amazing. It's super cool. I think, let's see if there's anything we're missing. I'd say for realism's sake, there isn't a lot of plant life above this cave. Maybe a little bit here? So no roots maybe, because it is a desert. So I think we're good. Also, that one's floating. But that is not for me to fix, and that's also in a different level that I cannot touch right now, so. Good luck, Mark. You deal with that. Who's my favorite member of Coffee Stain? I will not say this. I'm not gonna pick favorites. No, it's Natalie. It's Natalie. But I'm biased, because I knew her long before I knew Coffee Stain. No. I don't. It's totally not. I didn't say that. Okay, move on. Nope, the world is not generated. It's every single thing that you see on this map is hand placed, and if you hate it, then you personally insult us, and we will be crying from behind the scenes, probably. Okay, let's see. Is that again? That's not really interesting. Let's see. Oh right, yeah, this was the one I had worked on before. This is oh, that's the underwater one. Let's not block that one out. Ooh, this looks interesting. Yeah, we're based in Sweden. We're in this little town called Skövde, in between the two big lakes. It's still pretty south. Let's do one of the bigger ones. Let's try this one. Okay. Will enemies have Jace's hair? This sounds like a mod that we need. Let's see. Still on. Let's paint some mushrooms first, because this one has water. Where did you go? There you are. This fountain has Jace's hair. Yeah, it's blue, if that's what you mean. Does Simon work in the basement in a cage? We all wish he did. We all do. We all wish. The edge of the map is currently mostly ocean, or the eternal void that will swallow you whole, so avoid. Let's see. What's my favorite flavor of music? Oh boy. Oh boy. It really depends on the mood, but I use music a lot. Like, I legit make playlists for life. I'm always looking for new music. It's why I'm called DJ on the community Discord, because people listen along with me on Spotify sometimes, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I managed to reach the Spotify song limit, which it has apparently somehow. Did not know about it until I hit it, but yeah, that's the thing. But I listen to a lot of indie folk, but also like electronic music. I listen to dubstep. I listen to jazz. I listen to rock. I listen to punk, trap, whatever, anything. I listen to 30s jazz. I listen to soundtracks a lot, especially when I write. How many music tracks are there in the game? I don't know. I don't know how many. But I think Sleeper's Delight, our musician, is active in the chat, so ask him. The Spotify song cap is 10,000. I'm way past that now, because I just make playlists now to save all my new stuff. I'm at like 20,000, I think, at this point. It's bad. I have an addiction. I have a problem. If you don't speak German, give me an alpha key. 9. There we go. Let's see. Alright, let's do some stalactites and stalactites. Mod support is something that we've been thinking about, and that's been taken into account when making the game from the start. It's not something we've given a lot of attention to lately, so it's not something that will be there immediately, but we definitely want it in. And the foundation for it is there. But it is quite a lot of work to include that into the game, and we just want the foundation finished first. Scale it down a little bit. That 9 is very aggressive. Well, you know, learn from the best. Our producer's German. Also, the Mighty 9, if you know that, I love you. The world isn't randomly generated for a bunch of reasons, don't know all of them, but one of them was that to actually make that program to randomly generate a world like this is also a lot of work, and we'd still have to go in and fix things by hand and have to check everything. So it saves some work, but it really depends on what the intention of the game is and what your level design team is like and such. And the choice at the time was handmade, and we stuck to it. Are there big cliffs where you can see the entire map? There are like vista points where you can see like big points of the map, and you can build up so you can make your own. I will not be responsible for the amount of lag that you have though if you try to see the whole map at once. If you have a good computer, by all means, but if you have another, maybe not. Maybe it won't be as nice. Terrain, it's essentially big meshes that we manipulate. I can show you a little bit of what the terrain tool looks like. So if we manipulate terrain in itself in the tile, we have essentially, think of it as sculpting clay. So we have these brushes that we can use, for example, sculpt it in itself. We can, let's make this, we can heighten terrain, for example, or we can lower terrain like that. We can also, for example, smooth things out, so like to dull the edges of things and make it look a little bit more natural, not as harsh. Flatten to sort of flatten down things, like here this is just a rock floor, so it doesn't really need anything too much. I totally broke it. And I'll smooth this edge now so it doesn't look as weird. There. We also have brushes like patterns. We use that mostly when we're painting terrain such as the rock or the sand or the gravel. So for example, if we have some gravel, I can use essentially patterns. For example, a noise swirly pattern to paint in different patterns, as the name says, like it says on the tin. But mostly we use just a normal brush where we just sort of paint like you'd paint on canvas, essentially. But the canvas is the world. So poetic. Can you write down my name on this cave? Hold on. Let's write your name in grass. Alright, Ivo. Here we go. Oh, and it's gonna bake some textures. Look at that. You're in the game, man. You're in the game. And there you go. Because there's no place for grass here. Let's see. Let's fix the cliff a little bit. There we go. Let's make it less strength, so it's less. I'm not gonna do all your names, it's too much work. Then I can't get anything done today. But, you know, you can write it in Factory if you build your name. That'd be pretty cool. I would do that. What was my first day at Coffee Stain like? Don't really remember per se. I mean, it's just mostly a lot of like, play the game, get familiar with it, meet a whole bunch of new people. It was nice. It was just a regular old first day. Put some gravel here. Is that like mites? Yes, mites is the word. There, and we can use this one now too because the ground is flat. Well, if you start here at the company, the first thing you'll do is play Satisfactory so that you know what you're working on. It would be kind of bad if you started working on something and you had no idea what the game was like at all. Is there an undo button? Yes, it's called Ctrl-Z. Don't use it a lot because it makes things crash sometimes or lag really intensely. So we try not to make mistakes, and if we do, it's panic. Or we just fix it the long way around. There's still grass here, hold on. Let me... remove that. Erasing is essentially I just hold shift and paint instead. Where do you apply? There's the website, the Coffee Stain website itself. You can always apply for a job if you think that you got the skills and the want to work in the games and with Coffee Stain. Go ahead and do it. We have open applications. There. What kind of resolution? I'm not sure what the resolution is of our landscape tiles actually. Sorry. Can't answer that question. Not too sure. I already told the story of how I became a level designer here at Coffee Stain Studios. Actually, what's interesting is how I became a writer at Coffee Stain Studios, because I was not hired as a writer at all. Essentially, we were doing a bunch of internal testing, and there was a lot of feedback of that context was missing. Like, why are we building a factory? What is happening? How do we communicate to the players what to do and when to do it, etc., in a nice way that doesn't interrupt gameplay, etc., etc. I have been writing most of my life, pretty much all my life. Ever since I could write, I would write. But it's something that I hadn't really pursued as a career in game dev, because it's a notoriously difficult job to get into, and it's an overly saturated market. So I just essentially kept it as a hobby on the side. And then this problem came up here, and I was like, you know what? I think I know what could fix this. Story. So I made a pitch and presented it in front of the company, and they were like, yeah, cool, let's do it. And that's how I became a writer. So that. Is all lighting done with a directional skylight, or do you have other lights in the environment too? Caves have point lights because they just get really dark. We have a skylight. We have like one directional light, which is like the sun, and as it arcs, the light changes with it, and the moon as well. And that can all be affected by things like fog and post-processing volumes that we place all around the world as well. It's possible to get chickens in the game. Alien chickens? Yes, I studied to become a designer. I didn't specifically study like level design or game design. I studied design and production, like generally. And I specialized according to my own tastes. So I did a lot of VFX in my later years. And level design was something that I took to pretty nicely as well. I was okay at the like puzzles and combat, but I always made things too pretty and not as functional, so this worked out. And do we have plants above here or not? No. Then I think we're done with this caver, folks, at least for now. Let's save again. But yeah, I studied in the Netherlands for just game development, but specifically game design and production. So, is the world like Earth, so you can walk around it, or will there be an end? Think of it more as an island that you're on. It's not. It doesn't go all the way around, and there's edges. Essentially, you can't go past the designated edge. Essentially, so it's sort of like a very, very big island. Can I speak Dutch? Yes. But I've been warned before, and I don't want to get fired or kicked from the stream. Okay, let's see. Are y'all still enjoying yourselves? Because it's been an hour, which is crazy. We are 2 level designers, but there's a third who is kind of more like, I guess you could call him more of a game designer, because he designs stuff like the encounters and puzzles and like the more gameplay oriented stuff in the level itself. And Oscar, for example, does stuff like that too, I believe, but he gets real busy. Yep, you're stuck in caves the whole stream. Nah, look, here, a little bit of other stuff. I actually don't have a lot of level design work to do besides cave at this point, so... And that way you don't get spoiled too much, because you still want to just go out and explore and find out the world for yourselves and, you know, stuff like that. It's what the game's for. What school did I go to? I went to NHTV in Breda. Let's see if there's any interesting cool ones in the savannah. Oh no, that's too cramped. That's going to be annoying. Ooh, that is an interesting one. Or maybe... Where are we in development? Well, alpha. That's where we're at. So definitely not finished yet. But we have a very good idea of where we're going. Oh, this is interesting. So maybe some really big stalactites could be cool here. Oh, hey, Metal Fist. Cool. School buddies. What are the splines for? Oh, these things. That's, for example, these splines are indicators of where alien creatures would walk, for example. Sort of like their designated area of where they stroll around. Their patrol routes, I guess you could say. Release date, we know-ish. Not gonna tell though. How long does it usually take after signing up for the alpha to get a response? We don't have an automated response for the alpha per se, but if you signed up, you're in. Like you're in on the list. There's no confirmation email, but no worries. Let's see. If we just... Oh, that's a little too big. Aren't we the aliens when we get... Yes, we are technically... We are the aliens when we get to this planet. So, fair point, fair point. These are native creatures. Let's call them that. Now, yes. They'll still be aliens to us, though. If I make alien chickens, could you put it in the game? Sure. I mean, if mods are a thing, that will definitely be something possible. Let's see... Go big or go home. Yeah. The alpha is pretty small. Small, how? Players or? That's a little too... Needs more to be a bit more regular. Let's go crazy. How do trees grow in caves? They're special trees. Oh god, that's a lot of stalactites. Calm down. We don't have a lot of players in the alpha because we need to periodically essentially get feedback from people who play the game for the first time, because we're changing the beginning a lot. And how people learn, if there's something missing, and etc. is very important for us to know, and there's only one first impression that you can get. Jace actually talked about this as well in the previous stream. And we don't want to get too much feedback at once, because then it will be hard to filter through and find what's the most valuable to us and what is the best priority for us to fix. Because that is a big question usually as well. How will the story be told in the game? Will there be audio lines, or is the story very text-based? Both. There will be audio and there will be text. The story will be told in a way that isn't in the way of the gameplay. It's like it's supposed to be more of something that gives you context, and if you want to dig deeper, it's there. But it's not in the way of people that just want to build factories and manage stuff and like don't care about what else is going on. So I think they can still be bigger though. So yeah, think of it as something that is there to sort of enhance the experience for those who want it. Am I gonna make the story like Subnautica? Not exactly. I haven't played Subnautica too much. But it's inspired by stuff like Subnautica. Portal is a big inspiration as well. I love their humor. Let's see, there was another one, but it's not. I haven't done a lot of writing in a little while, so it escapes me right now. But there's some inspirations that I draw from. And also just crazy science. Science is interesting, and there's a lot of ideas to be gained from there. So. Subnautica Story's disaster. I can't say. I have no idea. I haven't played the game really, so I can't give an opinion on that. Can you climb steep terrain? Yes. Sometimes you'll need help, but that help can be made. Is alien... The cake is a lie, yes. Yes it is. There is no cake in this game. There's a food court though. Might be cake there. Is Siri essentially sculpting the environment? I thought that was something environment artists were used to do. Is this part of your usual day-to-day work? Yes, there's some overlap here. Some companies also use terms differently than others. So what I'm doing can be considered environmental art. But what we consider environmental art in Coffee Stain is the actual creation of the environmental assets and not the placing of them. So level design is the placing of things. And it really differs per company. For example, at Ubisoft, this was environmental art, what I'm doing now, not level design. It's really up to the lingo of internal systems, really. It's different for everyone. But yeah, we call it level design. Is the game a scam? Yes. Everything you see is fake. It's not real. It doesn't exist. It's the figment of your imagination. Does this look good? Tell me, does this look good? I don't know. Maybe it's just the texture that needs to be fixed to make it look better. Or the trees. I don't know. There's a lot of that going around too. Like, does this look good? I don't know. I've been staring at it for like 5 hours. Let's see. Oh no, it is lit. Okay. Too many tights on the right side. Could be. Could be. I might revisit this cave. We're gonna revisit this cave anyway as well. Just, I feel like this should be sparser but bigger. Maybe. Trees overlapping with static houses doesn't look good. Yeah, no, I'm gonna fix that at some point because overlapping never really looks good. This is just kind of a rough try of like, does it work? I'm not too sure about this one, to be honest. It works better in very confined environments. You know what? Let's just pretend this cave doesn't exist for a while. Cool. There. That is a glowy thing, yes. And the glowy thing is interesting because they do stuff. Interesting stuff. Let's see. Done, done, done. Not done, but also fairly big. Here we go. This is a big, empty, small cave. Skip the part where some stick through balcony roof. Oh. Oops. Well, I'll be fixing that. It's okay. No worries. How big is the game in file size? Go idea. No clue. Like 10 units. There we go, this looks better. Might have to go unlit though. Look, now I can see them. 10 whole units, yeah. Will we have Nordic language support, or can the community do it afterwards? Yeah, we're planning on having community translation. So essentially, we'll be looking for people that are interested in helping us translate and do language QA in the community, and hopefully translate the game that way. So there will definitely be different languages that are available in this game, for sure. But community driven if we can. What is the ending? Don't ask a writer that. That's a crime. Don't ask the writer how it ends. No. Let's see. Is my Unreal Engine pirated? If it was, that would be very stupid of me. No, of course not. This is unlit mode, so lit looks a little different, and then we'll be doing like separate lighting and fog for the caves to make them look nicer as well. Right now they don't really have that too much because I'm reworking the system at this point. So this is just so I can see what I'm doing, because caves tend to be dark and I don't want to squint at the screen for too much. Unreal Engine is free to use. Yeah, right. That was a thing now, right? That you can just use Unreal Engine. So if you're looking into game dev and getting into it, just download it and try things. They have like really cool templates that you can just get like a quick start with, and they have so many tutorials. It's amazing, honestly. And if Unreal seems a little bit too complicated for you at the start, use Unity. They're great for beginners. Alright, and let's do some stalagmites now. Yeah, I've worked in Unity before as well. It's a really great engine to start with when you're beginning, because simple things are simple. Like, it makes sense that way. In Unreal Engine, I feel like complicated things are simple, but simple things are complicated. So it's not as of a smooth start for beginners. Should not make that big, maybe. But Unreal does complicated stuff really well as well. So if you're a bit more advanced, Unreal tends to be on the better side if you're trying like crazy things. Is this for God Simulator? Nope, this is for Satisfactory. Let's see if I can... They can be bigger. Yeah, they can be bigger. Let's make them 10. Have a bit more there. Oh, well, there we go. Maybe not that big though. Well, I think, do I take internship in game and level design? Yeah, we take interns. So if you feel like applying, go ahead. I was an intern before, so. You're satisfied by the look of the factory in Satisfactory. Well, that is Satisfactory. There we go. Pun done and over with. We can move on now. How long is the game going to be for start to finish? A few of hours have finished the game, and they took like 100 or so hours. I don't know the exact numbers, but the game can be pretty damn long. But yeah, I think... Yeah, Simon, you can go to the bathroom. Or should I start wrapping this up? Because it's been like almost an hour and a half already. Unless you have some burning questions, how about you go ask them now, and I'll just have a nice view or something for you to see. There. Or maybe I can show off a little bit of how fog works. Hold on. And can you have your own pet in the game? If you try hard enough, they will love you. This one, unlock it. So yeah, ask your questions now, because I'll be wrapping up the stream soon. And I'll be paying attention to more questions at this point. Can I do a little gameplay? When I studied in Breda, I think I would work on this kind of big project. I had no idea where it was going to end up, how things were going to be. I was clueless. Let's see. But yeah, no gameplay. You'll have to. But I'm looking for a thing. I keep getting distracted. Stop distracting me. What version control software do we use? We use Perforce. What are the red dome things? They are gameplay stuff around things. Yeah. Also, if you want to blame someone for not showing gameplay, blame Jace. Blame Jace for everything. If not, blame Simon. That's how it works. Okay, do we have the... Are we going to make Easter eggs? Yes, we will have Easter eggs in the game. I'm totally going to just make this writable and then ignore it later. Can I deform terrain? No, the terrain is not editable by the player. It's more of a challenge of making your factory work with the terrain rather than against it. Alright, I have to do this and then I can select it. So, will the player be able to make their own maps? Maybe that's something we'll look at in the future. Right now, no. So, for example, these tables here sort of control the coloring and the density of the fog and stuff like that. So we are currently at 12 in the afternoon. What about snow in the game's future? If we ever do like a expansion or something where we do like add stuff to a map or make a new map, maybe that's the thing. I don't know. So is this at 12? How does this have multiple values? Okay, so let's go crazy with color. Let's see. We want to make this a little bit more yellow. There we go. Or we can make it super yellow, but that's maybe not the beautiful thing. Make it a bit more yellow because it's a desert, right? Warm it up a little bit. Yeah, weather confirmed because there's fog. Sure. How big is the map? It's about 5.5 by 5.5 kilometers, so about 30 square, I believe. They pay me in coffee. No, they don't. I don't drink coffee. I'm a blasphemer. Let's see, and what if we want to make, for example, we want to change the color at 12 in the night. Then we go to 12 in the night. And we make it more blue, if it wants to work. Nope. Oh, right, it's this one. Ha ha ha. There we go. They pay me in foot-long subs. Yeah, that's how they pay me. Will there be Christmas, New Year events or something like that when the game is finished? Not a clue. Not something we're really thinking about yet. Stuff like that. We just want to get the game done first. Yep, tea drinkers. That's it. Let's see. For example, we want to make it a bit more pale, a bit more calm down, or do we want to make it more, maybe a lighter blue? Nah, that doesn't really work with the trees. There. Just doing something right now just to show you sort of what it's like. There, that's for example the color, and how often will the map be updated? Again, no idea what we're exactly going to do with updates. Just want to get the game finished first, but the map is still under construction for sure right now. Like fog height, we can like go crazy if you want to, or not. We don't want to be too foggy. It's a desert after all. So you want to tone it down, and it's something that we can change, for example, over time. So at 12, we want the fog to be like pretty much nothing. So there we go. And then we got to get it back up for this. Copy this value over because the night needs to meet each other, and then we have a cycle. Oh, I forgot to press enter there. Will the night cycle be dark so you need lights? We have a flashlight in the game for a reason, but we're still very much tweaking the lighting at this point, so can't really give a definitive answer yet. So now the fog, if we change the day-night cycle, will be less in the day and more in the night. And I think, is this the kind of game that I wanted to design? I didn't really have too much requirements, I guess. I actually prefer working on a game that I would not play than a game that I would play, because then it doesn't get like spoiled for me, for example. But yeah. Will code be available from the start in early access? What's that question? What? We're not even released yet, man. Calm down. Will there be seasons? No. I think this about wraps it up. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for asking all these questions. Thank you for not having me have to answer two terrible things. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed a little sneak peek at what my routine is like, what the level looks like in the editor for us, and you know, caves, mostly caves, but a little taste of the rocky desert as well. And yeah, thank you so much for being there, and I hope you enjoyed it. And that will be it. Bye bye. Hope to see you next time.